Hello everyone. My name is Mohammed Jabran, and I'll be presenting today a presentation as it relates to Moroccan olive oil supply chain. Just bear with me here in a little bit, and I'll just share with you my presentation PowerPoint. All right, olive oil. Why is olive oil? Historically, olive is a fruit crop that is closely linked to the Mediterranean. Which is believed to contain 97% of the world's olive trees. Throughout the years, the olive has traditionally known to be well adapted to areas and suited to other tree crops and capable of fruiting satisfactorily within the minimum of human assistance. For example, in Morocco, both traditional and modern method of growing are still used today by farmers. Of course, it will take a few years later for these planted olive trees to be fruitful, and the olives can be harvested either by hand or by the tree shakers machines. Once the olive are picked and harvested, the next step that follows is transporting the olive crops to the mill for olive oil extraction. Again, in Morocco, these steps can also be done in a traditional or a modern method. In the United States, however, is the main important country of olive oil with 15% of world imports. In fact, in the US market for olive oil has grown over 50% in the last decade and 20% on the last 5 years alone. On the other hand, Morocco is ranked in the top 10 exporting countries of olive oil in the world, with the export exceeding 73% of exports. Now, we've talked about the why olive oil. Now we're going to talk about the supply chain stages of the olive oil. In order to successfully introduce Moroccan olive oil into the US consumers, the final product must go to many supply chain stages that start with the planting olive trees, carrying, harvesting, transporting, olive extracting, bottling, warehouse, storing, etc., including distribution, all the way down to the customer's hand. However, all these stages are categorized under four phases, which are the production, the processing, distribution, and the marketing. Now, briefly, we're going to talk about the four phases. The first one is which is the production phase, and for it to be successful, there's three stages that several conditions need to exist. For instance, as it concerns to the climate, Morocco has the ideal climate for olive cultivation. It has mild winter and warm, dry summers. The soil in the main olive growing regions are very fertile for planting and harvesting. Also, the harvesting season starts in November through January. On November, in the second is the processing phase, and it has three stages. Extraction stage, which is the stage starts with transporting olive crops within 48 hours from harvest to the mill of olive extraction. In storage stage, which is after oil is extracted, it's been stored in huge barrel containers and prepared for bottling stage. And of course, the last stage is the bottling process in then 20-ounce bottles, glass bottles. The third phase is the distribution. And after, of course, this happened after the bottling stage, the final bottle get packed and prepared for export process to be shipped to the US. Once arrived and went through import customs procedures, the batch of the bottle olive oil good are stored in the warehouse and get directly shipped to the distribution center. Now, I mean, we've talked about the supply chain stages. Now, we're going to talk about what are the strategy decision for the supply chain. Under the supply chain decision strategy, the main focus is going to include product design in relation to this product differentiation, customization, life cycle, as well as the packaging. It will include uncertainty concerning quantity, competition, and price last. Last, it will include resources as it relates to locations such as the warehouses. This supply chain operation decision for the main focus will be on the impact of scheduling, cost and size of transportation, impact of quality and negotiation, and the supplier, and the impact on setup resources on the process flow. Uh, then we're going to talk about the supply chain potential uncertainties. In general, the impact of deficiencies in the supply chain operation can be caused due to many uncertain operating conditions, such as delays in disruptions, demand variation, quality, market risk, pricing, and so on and so forth. It was conducted in one study that right after the company's announcement of a finding a disruption in the supply chain, such as production or shipment delay, it took price decreases significantly with an average decrease of 8.6% on the day of the announcement. And after that, much of 20% over the next 6 months. On the other hand, as it relates to economic uncertainties, there's economics and the cash flow uncertainties. The olive oil producer in these countries, such as Morocco, has access to credit and financial instrument better than rates for especially for the farmers, and that's basically another plus for this phase of the supply chain. Now we're going to talk about the supply chain forecast. During the first two phases, which is the production and processing of this Moroccan olive oil supply chain, great implementation of aggregate planning is needed for the startup of this project. And it's going to be for the period between 3 and 18 months. According to a study conducted by the Moroccan Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Fishery, the startup requirement of a capital cost of is approximately $400,000 in order to invest in the olive oil processing plant that produces a daily capacity of 20 tons of olive oil. This includes a processing plant of 4,300 square feet land, an industrial olive oil processing machine, and a storage tank and a bulk packaging system. In other words, the investing company will spend about approximately 3,200 in exchange for 1 ton of Moroccan olive oil, knowing that it requires 4 tons for olive in order to extract 1 ton of pure olive oil. So there's in addition, according to the Moroccan Agency for the Agriculture Development, it states that based on the conversation with the olive producers, intermediaries, and processors, it estimates that the price of olive reaches 25 cents a pound. Building a relationship with farmers, organizations for purchase of olives is bulk quantity can reduce the cost of raw input and facilitate the consistent quality and high quality olives in each harvest season. So that's a really a plus, and it's also with for the bottling cost, it's going to be 28 cents glass bottle, which is approximately 6 cents, and it's for that rate, it's going to be around 1,450 bottles were required for each ton of olive oil. It's basically it's going to cost $906 for the total bottles. Now we're going to talk about the geographic location of the supply chain. First, in general, geographic diversification requires transporting olives from different regions because olive needs to be pressed and less than 48 hours after collection. Complex logistical operations are necessary and costing quality risk increases. Thus, geographic diversification requires a location of factory in every growing region and increases capital expenditure. Second, according to Moroccan Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Fishery, following the implementation of the U.S.-Morocco Free Trade Agreements that took place in 2006, it allows Moroccan olive oil to enter the U.S. duty-free. The value of import of olive oil from Morocco jumped from 4.1 million in 2005 to 24.2 million in 2006. So these are some of the geographic locations characteristic for this supply chain. Now, what are the priority key recommendations for this? In fact, as an investor who is achieving strategic fit should find the right balance between responsiveness and efficiency. If we detail that, choosing the right processing plant, for example, for a location generally makes a change more responsive, while having it less than 48 hours far from the farmer creates high efficiency. The Using faster modes of transportation increases the chain responsiveness, for example, but while using slower mode generally increases efficiency. So these are some several examples, including the appropriate sourcing decisions such as buying from the other farmers, raise supply chain profit by assigning supply chain function in the right party who brings higher economies of scale. So, as just for a conclusion, basically there are major obstacles to overcome in order to manage supply chains of Moroccan olive oil successfully. For instance, increase of product variety, decrease of product life cycles, have demanding consumers and global competition, all have a major input to make these supply chain strategies more difficult and lose performance. The increase of globalization of the supply chain and fragmentation of supply chain ownership has also made it more difficult to execute this supply chain strategy. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation and hopefully, hopefully you you will be as much informational as it can be and talk to you later.